It's spooky time, bitches. We're so gay. We're both wearing smoky shirts.
Smokey the Bear, yo. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Hey guys, it's Saturday. Welcome back to the den. So this week, we are celebrating Ken's first year of being in Canada.
It's been a whole year as of the first.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an interesting learning experience because you guys are so much like the States, except you're not. Like, I don't know how to say it. Like, there's so much influence from the States here, but then Canadians, like, make it a point to go on about how not like Americans they are.
Right. So we share North American culture.
Yes.
So, like, sports, music, but not all music, as you've discovered.
Yeah.
Because Canada's had a lot more British influence, and there's a lot more Canadian artists that you've never heard of. That.
Yeah. Well, and that's
Glass Tiger.
Well, that's to do with the fact that, like, a certain percent of your broadcasting here has to be Canadian.
Yeah.
So you'll hear more Canadian artists than we will in the States because it's whatever happens to be popular.
Right, but 90% of the American artists are just as popular here.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have this, like, extended amount of things that are popular or were popular that I had never heard of.
Right, so, like, for example, last August, driving around Cincinnati, there was, like, 6 different Halsey songs that were charting at the same time, and so pretty much every time we hopped in your car, Halsey was playing.
Yeah.
Whereas here, there was only one song that was really charting, but there was a whole bunch of, like, the other songs were popular, but when they got released, there's so much Canadian music mixed in with the American music that it typically doesn't stay at number one for as long as it would in the States,
right,
because there's 2 countries worth of music that's competing for that position.
Yeah, but the certain percentage of required Canadian broadcasting gives you guys a lot of different TV up here than we would have in the States.
Yeah, yeah,
like different
and
sitcoms and different programs.
Yeah, and we've barely scratched the surface on Canadian TV. Like, there is some stuff, like a lot of kids shows, like Today's Special. You had growing up, this Canadian show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Lots of stuff like that, and lots of stuff like with the music that's American that we got.
They got Are You Afraid of the Dark on regular television without having to have cable.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was produced here, so...
Right, but you had to have Nickelodeon to get it in the States.
It was on YTV here. Yeah. So there was... American production companies have been filming TV shows and stuff in Canada for decades.
Yeah.
I meant more like original Canadian productions, like Orphan Black, stuff like that.
Yeah. So let's break down the whole ways that I've noticed that Canada is different, other than, like, pop culture.
Yeah. Oh, groceries, for example.
Groceries are so much more expensive here. So much more expensive here. Milk. Holy crap. Milk is expensive.
Oh, yeah. Milk is expensive. Butter's expensive.
Half a gallon of milk is $4 and some change here on a good day.
Canadian Dairy Farmers
just blows my mind. Blows my mind, because I can get a gallon of milk, so essentially almost 4 liters.
And because milk's cheaper, therefore everything else that's dairy related is also cheaper. Like ice cream. Ice cream is stupid cheap in the States.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I want to point out. The Canadians' use of the metric system.
You mean in packaging?
Oh, no, just in general. Like how, for instance, let me just ask you this. If I had a large bag of rice in my hand, that would be weighed in what?
Kilograms.
Okay.
Yeah.
You step on a scale to weigh yourself. How do you weigh yourself?
Pounds.
Uh-huh. Your temperature outside is, what, 18 degrees Celsius right now?
Yeah.
What's the temperature in here?
72 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. So it's just this hodgepodge of like sometimes the metric system is used, sometimes it's not, but it's never in a uniform way. So like in measurements, for instance, yeah, you'll have millimeters and centimeters, but then they switch over to inches and feet and then go to meters.
To be fair about the height thing, though, if you look at official Canadian documents, it's all printed in meters.
It was printed in centimeters for height of people.
Right.
But no one here, if I asked how tall someone was in centimeters, they would have no flipping clue. They would tell me that they're 5'9". They wouldn't say I'm 60 something centimeters or whatever.
Pretty much.
So that kind of drives me crazy because I won't say that the metric system is bad. It's not. Like scientifically, it's way better and much easier to comprehend. But when you throw imperial in there with it and there's not like a uniform set way to do things, it's confusing to someone that's trying to learn the new system.
Right.
Well, it's a new to me system.
The equivalent would be somebody who's brand new to baking and turning around and finding a recipe book and everything's either weighed out, half weighed out, and half measurement. So like
so
ounces,
500 grams of flour and then a half a cup of sugar.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't you just put it all in one?
Yeah, exactly. It's absurd, but that's Canada.
So the things that I would think of that would be more normal to be in imperial measurements are not. So I keep getting thrown on certain things. Like we'll go somewhere and I'll just want to grab like a pop from or soda, if you will, depending on what part of the state you're in, from the convenience store. To me, that's a 20-ounce pop because that's what it is. It's 20 ounces of liquid. But not to him. To him, it's a 591 ml.
Yeah.
Yeah. 591 milliliters, which the first time he said that, I just looked at him like he was dumb. And then I realized, no, that's metric.
Yeah, but don't you have 2 liters of pop?
Yes, because it's a standard.
Okay.
2 liters of pop has been 2 liters of...
So you guys do it too, just not as much.
So the amount...
a liter's metric.
Correct, but that's a standard across the board. Like... That's the next size up.
Right, so instead of saying like 20.6 ounces, it would just say 1 liter.
No. That would be, like, there's a 16.9 ounce one as well.
Oh, well.
I'm just saying that's the name of the next one up. It's not because it's metric, it's just that's the next size.
Okay.
It's just not referred to in ounces because it's an absurd amount of ounces.
146 ounces or something.
I don't know, probably. But yeah, like it's 12 ounces in a can.
Yeah.
And 16.9 is the small bottles that you get. And then the slightly bigger ones are 20 ounce.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, most things are imperial in the States. The thing is we were never forced to switch to metric. The Metric Act happened in the 70s, but it was on a voluntary basis, so nobody did it. Unlike here, where it was forced to go through, because that's the way the things used to be here. The neighbor downstairs is older, and she still measures things, basically everything in imperial. So, yeah, kilometers, that messes me up, because I got to look at the tiny little numbers on my car, on the speedometer, instead of the big numbers. Because everything's measured in kilometers per hour and distance in kilometers. That's the biggest thing, is trying to get used to the metric system here. Because I was raised with everything being in imperial measurements until the time I moved across the border.
Right.
So I'm starting to get the hang of Celsius mostly, but now that fall's coming and the temperatures are dropping, is 14 degrees warm enough to go without a hoodie, or do I need something over my shirt? Like, I don't know that yet. There's no perspective in my brain.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah.
Time for hoodie weather.
Yeah.
So one of the things we were talking about earlier is our weather here is like the weather that you remember from being a kid.
Yeah.
Where fall is actually fall. September, October,
Spring
November.
is an entire season, not just like this 2-week transition between holy crap it's cold and holy crap it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where suddenly you remember that the sun is a giant ball of fire.
Yeah.
And that explains why it's so dang hot.
Yeah. Yeah, there was an actual transition between needing to go outside every day with a super big coat on and wearing tank tops and shorts outside. There was an actual like 2.5 month period where it was sometimes warm enough, sometimes too cool. Like, it reminded me of like when I was growing up in southern Ohio. Thanks, global warming.
Mm-hmm. So like Halloween's coming up, and here you always have your winter coat with you, or I remember many times wearing my winter coat under my Halloween costume, because sometimes it snowed, sometimes it was just ungodly cold.
Yeah, no, it was more of a crapshoot in where I was from in the States, because sometimes it's like that where you need a heavy jacket or you need to wear layers underneath your costume.
And then some days it's a beautiful fall day.
Oh no, sometimes it's freaking hot. Like, it's been to the point where, like, it was just now starting to get cool outside when the sun went down. Of course, now kids go trick-or-treating in the day, but, yeah, like, there were times that I went out for Halloween and, like, just the little, like, extra layer that I had on that was the costume was making me sweat because it was too warm out. So, but, regardless, the seasons actually have a transition period here, which is nice.
Thanksgiving being in October.
Yeah, Thanksgiving in October screws me right up.
Yeah, they started selling turkeys already.
Yeah. We were at the grocery, he's like, you want turkey? And I'm like, why?
97 cents a pound. Hell yeah, I want turkey.
A pound. 97 cents a pound.
Part of that, though, is marketing strategy.
Oh, yeah, because it's way cheaper to it sounds way cheaper to say 97 cents a pound instead of
$2.39 a kilogram.
Yeah.
Whatever the equivalent would be, but yeah.
But yeah, it's because in the States, as our viewers in the States know, like when you're doing up your house for the fall and winter, you decorate for Halloween, and then when that comes down, you put up your just general fall stuff for Thanksgiving, and then when that comes down, then you put up Christmas.
Right.
Here, you put up for Halloween, but it's more depending on
fall Halloween.
Yeah, depending on the person's house, because some people will still go all out for Halloween. It's more of like a fall / Halloween.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing that keeps these people from decorating for Christmas as of the first week of November, and it drives me up a wall.
Yeah, we were in Dollar Tree today, and when you first walked in, the lady was hanging up all the Halloween decorations, and then when you got towards the back of the store, there was Christmas decorations.
Yeah.
I didn't point them out to him because I'm sure he noticed,
Oh,
and he was probably thinking the same thing.
Him.
I'm not going to mention them to him because I don't know if he saw them or not. But for very different reasons. Me, I would be extremely excited about it, and you'd be like, oh my god, already, it's only September. And I'd be like, oh my god, it's already September.
Yeah. It's a different perspective on that. It's taken me some time to adjust to the fact that holidays don't necessarily work exactly the same way. Although you do still have a holiday at the beginning of summer and the end of summer, just like we do. Like Labor Day was the same in Canada and the U.S.
Yeah.
Although we spell it differently.
Right.
But beginning of summer for the U.S. is Memorial Day. And for you, it's Victoria Day.
Yeah.
Which you call May 2/4 because it's the 24th of May.
Right. And because it's like the day that everybody gets shit-faced drunk.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's Memorial Day.
They sell beer in 2/4s, so she's being extra.
Mm-hmm.
And it's adorable.
But yeah, it's Victoria Day because it's Queen Victoria's birthday. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
It's
A lot of little law stuff that we've been talking about.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Like the pardon system.
Yeah, it's a weird thing for me to think about. Canada is not a direct democracy.
Yeah.
It's a constitutional monarchy.
Right.
So you still have Queen Elizabeth II as your head of state, who has the Governor General is the one that reports to her, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the Prime Minister, who is kind of like the president of Canada, so to speak. And then you've got your two houses of Parliament.
I'm sorry, she's being adorable right now.
You got your two houses of Parliament, just like we have two houses of Congress.
She is hanging on to your every word.
Yeah.
Laying there with her paws crossed, just staring at you, watching you talking.
Mm-hmm. You've got your two houses of Parliament.
Yeah.
Which is the House of Commons and what's the other one?
House of Representatives.
House of Representatives?
I think so.
Okay. I'm still working it out.
I think so.
So those are called MPs, Member of Parliament. But if you're talking about the local ones, just for Ontario or whatever your province is,
Premier. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking like your MPPs.
Oh, yeah.
Your MPP meaning Member of Provincial Parliament.
Right. Yes.
So they're the ones that are like the state representative in the states, like the Ohio Congress or House of Representatives, what have you, instead of the national level. Those are called the MPPs.
Right.
Okay. I'm learning. Don't you look at me in that tone of voice, little girl.
She is being so adorable and precious. I love it. We have products that you guys don't have, and vice versa. We just discovered like a week or two ago that my brother's been getting Keebler cookies from the States and bringing them over from my mom. And that's when Ken was like, wait a minute, hold on. You guys don't sell Keeblers here? And we did, like, early 2000s and, like, late 90s, but I haven't seen Keeblers on the shelves in forever. Funny enough...
His name is Jeff Sessions, and I keep him hidden.
Funny enough, though, we bought Wendy's chili tonight, and they came with little crackers, and they were Keebler crackers. So so they're importing Keebler, but
oh well. But I mean, those are some of the things that I've noticed, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of things that are very different here than it is in the States, but it's similar enough that it's just kind of like almost like a regional thing. Like, oh, you moved to the other side of the country, so there's no Kroger here, there's this store instead. Kind of like that.
Right.
But there's no Kroger anywhere here. Like, there's nothing that's the equivalent, like the cheap grocery store.
Right.
Because the groceries are so expensive. There's no Aldi here. And it breaks my freaking heart.
It breaks my heart, too, because Aldi has that freaking stand mixer that's dirt cheap, that's, like, way better than, like, the full-size stand-up mixers that you spend, like, $400 or $500 on, that I have wanted for years, and I can't get one, and I want a hand mixer! Stand mixer.
Yeah, and the only other one that gets me is everything is, of course, still, like, priced in dollars.
Yeah.
But it's Canadian dollars, which are not quite as strong as American dollars. So I'll see the price of something and then like immediately like jerk back, like, wait, that's really expensive. And then I have to remember and tell myself it's not as expensive as you're thinking because it's 75 cents American for every $1 Canadian, roughly.
By the time you do the exchange rate and figure everything out, you go, wait a minute.
Basically, it's 75% of whatever number I'm looking at is the actual cost in my brain.
Right, and the other part, too, that you have to remember is Ontario minimum wage is $14 an hour.
Yes, it is.
Minimum wage in Ohio is significantly lower. Even with the exchange rate, it's still, like, what, $4 less, $5 less? So with that comes inflation on certain products. And, like, I remember one of your biggest things this time last year was the cost of bread. You were blown away that you couldn't buy a loaf of bread for under $3 when it's not on sale.
Yeah.
Like the sale price is $2.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I could go to Meijer, which was the local grocery store I used to go to, and get a loaf of bread for 98 cents when it was on sale.
Yeah. The only place here you can do that is Walmart. buy their fresh baked bread that they cut up
Yeah.
into slices, and it's
And
like
I
$1.
try not to shop there at all unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah, so before he moved here, it was a no Walmart ever, and I completely understand and respect that. However, in Canada,
You don't
there
have
are
a
no
lot of
big
choice.
box stores.
There's no big box stores other than Walmart. Like, even the grocery stores are just regular little grocery stores. There's no like one-stop shop stores.
Nothing's open 24 hours.
Yeah, nothing is open 24 hours, and that makes me mad because as someone that lives with anxiety, my one thing I could do to kind of get around having to be around a lot of people is I would go grocery shopping at 2 or 3 in the morning because there's nobody around.
Yeah.
I can't do that here because all the grocery stores close at either 9 or 10.
There are two. However, those two, because they're 24-hour grocery
their
stores,
prices are like twice as much.
Stupid expensive. Yeah, $8.99 for a 12-pack of pop.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
No, that's not happening.
So, I mean, those are just a few because we've kind of dove into those pretty far.
Yeah.
But those, it's been eye-opening, but also very nice. Those are the things I've noticed. Those of you who have traveled up to Canada or are from Canada and have traveled to the States, what are some of the things that you've noticed that are like starkly different that jumped right out at you when you started looking around at things while you were there, or what's something that really bothers you about the other country? No politics, please. I mean, the structure government aside, like, you can talk about that, but, like, when you start getting into political issues.
Yeah, no politics, definitely.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you've noticed that just irked you because it's not what you're used to, or it just jumped out at you because it was so different? On that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified as soon as we upload a new video. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.